Yo guys, what is up? Today I'm going to be talking about something a little different than anime. It still technically is in the same category, I guess, but it is which region is the best Pokemon region, and specifically which games are the best, and what's the best part about each game. So I'm going to be talking about each region and just discussing the best things about them and what they bring to the table. So I say we just get straight into it with Kanto. This game is the original 151 Pokemon, and that's probably the thing I like best about it is how simple it is. It's only 150 Pokemon or 151, and you get to beat the game, or what am I saying? You as you beat the game, there's only 151 Pokemon. So I'm a kind of person that likes to complete the Pokedex, and so when I see there's only 150 Pokemon, that's easy. And see most game or the future games as they as you beat the game or after you beat the game, the whole like there's more Pokemon that show up, and there becomes more Pokedex, like a national deck and everything, and that kind of ruins the Pokedex experience for me because I like just completing the Pokedex for that region and moving on, I guess, with the game or just feeling finished with the game. And I know that it's fun to keep playing the game, but for me, Pokemon has always been about the adventure. So when I feel like I completed my adventure and then I'm just walking around trying to finish this Pokedex, it's less fun for me. So so I kind of like completing the Pokedex as I go through the game, as opposed to beating the game and then running around finding random Pokemon to fight so that I can level up. That just becomes a chore and is less fun than the actual adventure part of the game. And that's why I'd prefer just having a smaller region, I guess, or having yeah. This it's just a really simple game, which I really like about it. And the other thing I like about it is how free it is. Um, the first two gyms you have to beat in order, and the eighth gym you have to beat. But then 3 through 7, you can beat those gyms in any order, and I really like that about the games because like with certain games later on, they feel like they're way too story based, and like you're just trying to complete a story for the game rather than have it going on your own adventure. And so I really like that about this game. And plus, they still add in a story, so it's still fun, but it feels like the point of the game is actually going on an adventure rather than complete a story based game. So then we move on to Johto region, which is a great region, but this is how I describe this region. It seems almost like Kanto, but added on, like an add-on, because there's 8 more gyms, and the game feels a lot like Kanto, but there's 8 more gyms and about 100 more Pokemon. But since you can use both regions, which I'll get to in a second, it feels almost like it's like an add-on to Kanto, and I'm sure that's almost what it was intended to be back then, before they thought of adding like separate regions for every generation. This was almost just like, oh, Pokemon's coming out with another, season, not season, but just like another game, and they're gonna add a whole nother thing before they move to the what is now like new separate regions for every game. But I do like that. Again, it feels like not a smaller game, but it feels like there's only like 250 Pokemon, and you can beat the game kind of at your own pace. Because with Kanto, you can beat it in any order, or not any order, but as I described earlier. And then in the actual Johto region, there is a little bit of variation you can do with how you beat the gyms. But the best thing about this region is, as what thing that everyone loves about it is how your Pokemon can follow you. I don't understand why more games didn't do that, and I love Pokemon because they let your Pokemon follow you, but I just don't understand why they don't let your Pokemon follow you in this game, or in other games, and why they only added it to this game. It just makes so much sense, and you feel like you're actually bonding with your Pokemon, and like seeing them evolve and seeing a new form of them walking behind you is always exciting. And of course, the other great thing about this game is that there are two regions as opposed to just one, like most of the other games. Having two regions just makes the game feel like almost like it's just more of an adventure, I guess. You beat the game once and you're like, oh, there's a whole new area opened up. Now let's go through this and have an adventure. And it's one of the best games, I guess. Um, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best region, but what they did with the games is just amazing. So we then move on to Hoenn region, which is so my first experience with this region was in the remakes, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and those were some of the best games I've ever played as far as Pokemon games. I loved those games a lot. They just, I think it was part of the 3D, which I do like some of the 3D stuff that they added. I wouldn't say it's necessarily better, but it worked really good with this region because of how colorful it is and how tropical it is. It just felt so much more real and like I was actually in a different place. And again, I think the best thing about this region is the tropical part of it, and how just unique I guess the map is. Like there's a volcano in the middle of it. There's a whole like half of it you have to surf to different gyms, and there's different islands out in the water. I really like that about this game or this region. And the other thing I like is that how the Pokemon or the Pokedex, like as you're beating through the game or as you're beating the game for the first time, the Pokemon that you catch are only found in this region basically, or they're unique to this region, or they were introduced in this region. So I don't like when I'll get to it when we talk about Sinnoh, but I prefer just having Pokemon from this region because, as I said earlier, I like being able to complete the Pokedex, and having a million Pokemon around makes that a lot harder and makes it feel impossible. And I will say about the remakes, I loved how they added all the legendary Pokemon to it. Like, I think they added at least one from every single generation. Um, it felt like the game was much more like challenging, I guess, because you actually had to find these Pokemon, go through stuff to try to catch them, and it helped with the Pokedex as well because most games there's this huge Pokedex, but then half the Pokemon you can't even get because either you have to use the other game, which you still have to do that with this one, or you had to be there for an event. But this one, all the legendary Pokemon are possible to catch, or per game. Like each game had their own. But yeah, this game I like the remake, and I'm gonna start playing through the original Emerald on PokeMMO pretty soon. I'm currently playing that game, and I'm on Unova region, so I'll get to this one pretty soon. And yeah, I think that's all. Ooh, I do like all the starters for this region too. But speaking of starters, Sinnoh region has some of my favorite starters. Piplup and not Chimchar are two of my like 4 favorite starter Pokemon, including Squirtle and Tepig, which we'll get to. But these 2 starter Pokemon are my favorite, or 2 of my favorites, and I love all the Pokemon that are introduced in this region as well, and the legendary Pokemon with Arceus, Darkrai, Cresselia, the lake ones. I can't remember all their names, and then Giratina, Palkia, Dialga. All those Pokemon are some of the best. I think they are the best legendaries ever added, or mythicals. And yeah, I love all the Pokemon added in this one. And the region itself doesn't feel too impressive, especially compared to Hoenn. But I do like that. I think it stands up. I think it holds up pretty good. And I like the snowy region of it. And yeah, I think it's just a good game. It's a fan favorite. It's a classic for a reason. And it's just it's a great game. But then we move on to where a lot of people think the series started to go downhill, or the franchise started to go downhill, and that is the Unova region, which, funnily enough, is my favorite region, just because I played it so much as a kid with the original, or with Black and White, and then with the remakes. So with those two games, um, this region held up a lot of my childhood. It ate a big chunk of my childhood up, and I I enjoyed it so much. And I even watched the anime at this point, and yeah, I love this region a lot just because of nostalgia. I guess that's not the only reason, because I still play through the games and enjoy it. But as I said earlier, with the Pokemon, oh, I did forget to mention this with Sinnoh, but the one thing I dislike about Sinnoh is how there's Pokemon from other regions as you're beating the game for the first time. So like before you beat the first gym, you can catch a like an Onix or a Machop, and I don't enjoy that too much because again, it makes the Pokedex feel really big, and I kind of like using Pokemon that are just unique to the region that I'm playing through, which is why I like Unova, because it adds 150 more Pokemon, which is fine. I'm fine with there being a lot. I just don't like there to be all of them. And I like that you could catch all of them, uh, or that the ones that you catch are only from this region. And then the best thing I think about this game, or one of the best, is the storyline itself. And I'll explain that, I guess. So you beat half the game, you play through half the game, and there's characters like N and Getsis, which they actually feel like threatening, and it feels like this game has a much better storyline than any other game. And N is one of the probably the best character that a Pokemon game has ever added, and especially in the Pokemon Adventures manga, it brings him to life so much more. But this region has a great storyline, great playthrough, and then once you beat the actual storyline, you get to beat another half of the region, and then actually defeat the champion this time. So that I loved how they added that and added 3 more towns that you play through after the game, and it feels like your adventure just keeps going. You can keep exploring stuff and catch more legendaries, and I do like the legendaries in this game. But I just like that they added another half of the region, I guess, that you can play through, so the game kind of feels like your adventure is continuing. I mentioned the Pokedex, how I like. So after you beat the game, there does become a national dex, which I do like. I just, for my first playthrough, I like only being able to catch the Pokemon that are unique to this region, or whatever region I'm playing. And so, opening up a national dex afterwards is fine, because it makes the game fun after you beat it instead of just restarting it over and over. But yeah, I do like that about this game. And Tepig, as I mentioned before, is my favorite starter, just because that's the first starter that I ever chose. Got him to like level 90, I think. I still have him. I transferred him to other games. I think he's on Black 2 right now. But then Reshiram or Kyurem. I think the Kyurem hybrid with Reshiram from Black 2 was the first Pokemon I got to level 100 on my own. And so yeah, this region holds a lot of nostalgia for me, and I do like the legendaries. I like all the Pokemon added. I like the dragon Pokemon, like Axew or whatever it's called, Hydreigon, and whatever the Axew one is, Haxorus maybe. Yeah. But then we move on to Gen 6, and I actually did forget the name of this region, but I won't talk about it for too long because I haven't played this game since it came out, like the year that it came out. And I do enjoy this game a lot. I like all the Pokemon that it added. I love the region, and I like what they did with the 3D part of it. Like, I think it just makes the region so much more beautiful and fun to play through. But this game, it just loses the feel of Pokemon that the first few games had for me. And the games continue to do that. But this game, I feel like, is the last game that really felt like a real Pokemon game to me. And I do like it. I love the Pokemon that they added, and the region itself and the starter Pokemon are all great. But it does feel like it's missing a little something, and I think it's just, I'm not quite sure what it is. And then as we move on to this region right here, the Alola region, this is the first game that I actually could not play all the way through. I just got bored of it and wanted to play the older games again. I don't care for any of the Pokemon they added. The only ones that I saw that I wanted on my team were, well, ones from other regions. I love Zorua, so I had him on my team. And then the Donkey Pokemon, and another one that I never actually caught because I never got to the point where I could catch it. So I beat like almost 90% of the game with only 3 Pokemon just because I saw none that I wanted to catch. And there was way too many bug type Pokemon in this game, and like water and just Pokemon that I don't really care for. And I think all the designs are pretty ugly. They got a lot more complicated with this region, and I don't think that was for the better because I've seen some of the leaks of Pokemon from older regions like Gen 1, Gen 2, and those Pokemon all look better than these ones. So I like the simplistic design of Pokemon, and it feels like by this game they got way too complicated, and it didn't have quite the same feel. I do like that they tried to mix things up and not do the traditional 8 gyms and then the Elite Four, but it just that doing that made me not enjoy the game as much because it didn't feel like the same. Just didn't feel like the same game that I grew up on and loved, and that's nothing bad against it. It's just I didn't enjoy it as much. I prefer not fighting mutant Pokemon hybrids and instead fighting, the gym leaders, training to fight the gym leaders. That's what Pokemon's always been about for me. So this game, I do want to try to play through it again, but it was not very enjoyable on my first playthrough. And I haven't played Gen 8 yet because I don't have a Switch, and from what I've seen of it, it doesn't seem like it's much better than Gen 7, so probably gonna be a long time before I get into that, or, buy a Switch, which I don't really want to do. And, but yeah, it from videos that I've seen, it doesn't feel like Pokemon anymore, or not the Pokemon that I grew up with. So, yeah, that's all I got to say for this video. Leave any thoughts that you have down below, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time.